Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Crann podcast. My name is Orla Healy. This time around I sat down with Rowena Sweeney, who is treasurer of Rebel Wheelers, and Maeve Murphy, who is involved at the Saturday morning club at Rebel Wheelers. Rebel Wheelers is a parasports club here in Cork that encourages physical activity and social sporting participation for people of all ages and all abilities. It's a fantastic resource here in Cork, and you'll find out loads more about it as we talk to Rowena and Maeve. I hope you enjoy. Welcome, Maeve and Rowena. How are you?
Good night, thank you.
For people who don't know you, would you mind giving us a little bit of background into yourselves, your families, and your role within Rebel Wheelers?
Hi, I'm Rowena. I'm the treasurer within Rebel Wheelers. I've been involved now with 6 years. I'm involved with Rebel Wheelers with my daughter Isabel. Isabel is 12 years of age, and she just loves going along, being part of the Disability Sports Club.
So Maeve, I'm involved with the Saturday morning club branch of Rebel Wheelers. I've been involved for about 3.5 years since my son was 5. He's now 9, and he again like Isabel, he loves hanging out with all his friends at Rebel Wheelers and getting the opportunity to try lots of different sports.
And for people who don't know about Rebel Wheelers, could you tell me a little bit about what it is, where it's based, and what people get up to?
Rebel Wheelers is a sports club based in Cork. It was actually set up by a group of parents who identified that there wasn't actually sporting opportunities for their children within the Cork area. It is now nearly about 14 years in existence, and the club is just flourishing. It's going from strength to strength. Within Rebel Wheelers, we kind of want to have a sporting opportunity for everyone. We're recognising that there's so many different levels of disability that we want to have some activity that everyone can partake in depending on their level of ability, their physical strength, etc. Children would kind of come into the club from the age of 5, and then the club would continue through to adulthood. So we'd start with Saturday Morning Club, which Maeve is involved in. She can tell you more about that. Then we'd also have kids then would discover what sport they like best, and I suppose their speciality areas. Then we'd have an athletics group, we'd have rugby, we have bocce, we have wheelchair basketball.
There's a huge variety of sports actually that are covered by the Saturday morning club. So in addition to the 4 branches of the club, that it's a kind of a pathway into the basketball, the rugby, the bocce and the athletics, there's a big variety of sports. So you have everything from kayaking to swimming to... What else have they done? I'm trying to think of all the sports they have done. We've done a modified version of volleyball with the children. We've also brought in sports clubs from outside, and with their coaches to introduce the children to GAA, football, soccer. The FAI came in and did a very good coaching session with the children.
Very good.
But another thing we do within Rebel Wheelers is we'll listen to the kids. We listen to what they like doing, and sometimes we'll even let them kind of guide us in what activities they might like to do. Sometimes they just have as much fun playing the normal playground games that everyone else plays, flush the toilet, what time is it, Mr. Wolf? And then they'll go right on to, say, trying the more technical sports, giving it a go, having their wheelchair basketball game, having their rugby game, etc. So we're very much guided by our membership and what they like to do.
And do the older adult groups come in to the Saturday morning club or to the children's groups? Is there much involvement between them?
From time to time there is. What we're always looking out for is volunteer opportunities, transition year students, siblings, friends and relatives of children in the club, and also we're always really happy to see previous members of the club return and run sessions with us. And we've had Jade O'Hurley, who's one of the rugby stars in our adult rugby team, come and run rugby sessions and also talk to the kids about development in sport and the opportunities that brings, including travel and participation at the highest levels of the sport, right up to representing your country.
And I think last weekend, Irish Wheelchair Rugby were doing a piece on Ireland AM. And I know a number of the kids actually enjoyed turning on the telly and seeing the familiar face of Alan Deneen, whose mum would be one of the founding members, and Jade, and they were up and they were playing wheelchair rugby on Ireland AM. And in turn then, in conjunction with Cork Sports Partnership, we were actually launching the junior wheelchair rugby again just Monday night gone, and there was a great crew actually turned up and took part in training, so hopefully we'll be getting a junior rugby team out of it.
Fab. And it's so cool to see all the para-athletes getting their dues on in media. I know the Paralympics is puts a big spotlight on it, but the IWA Sports do such a good job in promoting the athletics. And
Oh, absolutely. Like the pride, and they're watching para-athletics and they know the individuals. They're seeing them on social media, the familiar faces. When are they going to be competing? And they're going into school and they're telling their friends, I know someone who's taking part in the para-athletics,
Yes.
I know someone, and there's delight in that.
can I ask you, what prompted you to get involved in Rebel Wheelers in the first place?
I think for me, it was, I suppose my own son was hearing his friends being involved in different clubs and was looking for his own sports club to be involved in, and I was really happy to discover Rebel Wheelers. And it also gave an opportunity not just, I suppose, to be involved in the more mainstream sports that everyone would be aware of, like your rugby, your soccer, and basketball, but also sports that you mightn't have considered, like fishing, for example, is really, really accessible, as is bocce. So there's a huge variety of sports for every level.
With Isabel, we kind of wanted to connect with the community. So we were kind of almost waiting for the 5th birthday until we could actually join up. So 5th birthday, joined in, and, she found her community. She found her friends, she found her friendship, and she found her sports. And even through that, it gave us confidence that we were able to branch out within our community. We got involved with our local GA club. They set up a GA for All scheme. She took part in the local Cool Camp with an SNA helping her. She loved the experience. So it enabled us to kind of reach out to other groups and encourage them to also get involved in disability sports.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Rowena, 'cause I think a lot of people have a similar experience where that few years where you're starting off in Rebel Wheelers as a parent and as a child and as a family gives you the confidence to reach out to other clubs and other activities.
And what opportunities as a family, because obviously Isabel and Brendan have siblings and yourselves are so involved, is there parent and sibling opportunities within those clubs as well?
Yes, I think
I suppose kind of like for us and our experience with the siblings and the whole family, it allows the sibling to meet other families in the same situation. They're meeting other people that have a brother or sister in the same shoes. So, they bond with each other. But also, they get great opportunities. The people they meet, you travel to events, there's opportunities thrown open, like we're brought ice skating at Christmas time. There's a whole lot of fun involved in the club as well. It's not just all about sport. There's a great social side to it and a social network. And in fact, this summer, Isabel took part in the National Para Junior Championships in the UK. And her sister came along. She took part of it. She's still going around wearing her para hoodie with pride. She enjoys helping out at these events, helping with the kids and being part of the whole experience.
Are there specialist equipment required to take part in any of the sports?
so. Sometimes a sport can be modified without the use of any equipment. It's just modifying the rules a little bit to make it more accessible. However, where equipment is required, Saturday Morning Club and Rebel Wheelers do have a storage unit that's full of all different types of equipment to enable children to participate. For example, they have a bank of bicycles for children to try different types of accessible bicycles, and they have frames for frame football. So I'll pass the rest of the question over to Rowena. Yeah.
I suppose disability equipment, it is expensive. But I would encourage people to reach out to your local disability club, reach out to, Cork's, your local sports partnership. You'd be surprised where there is equipment and where there is help there to allow you to get access to the equipment. There's grants for funding, etc. Like, items are expensive. You're talking about a wheelchair rugby chair is 10k, 5k for a wheelchair basketball. Track chairs, frame runners, they're over €3,000 a piece. So it is expensive, and that's where kind of getting involved in a club helps so much. It'll allow you to access this without the parents having to reach into their own pockets, or the adult individual themselves to be involved in sport to finance their own equipment.
Do you have any advice or guidance on how people might be able to access grants for funding equipment?
Generally, I find like the City Council, the County Council, they will annually release grants. There's sports capital grants available. There are some organisations such as the Hospital Saturday Fund, the National Lottery. They're administered via the HSE. It's really kind of getting online, Googling grants available, and quickly enough you'll get a listing back of different grants and different cut-off dates. A lot of them do tend to be front-loaded at the start of the calendar year.
Okay. Are there any barriers that you see to people, to perceptions around getting involved?
I think it's fear.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people are so cautious, what if I get it wrong? So what if you get it wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to the parents, talk to the individual. You can get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Take a chance. And then obviously the shortage of facilities. And I think this goes right across the board, be it disability sports or not. You know, it would be wonderful to see more sports, more pools, hydro pools, athletic tracks, hall space, etc. That's a struggle that is being experienced right across sporting areas.
What advice would you give to parents who might be curious or unsure about bringing their children to parasports?
I would say go. I'd say don't think about what you can't do or what your child can't do. You'd be surprised at the level of ability that your child has. And also, there's a lot of very creative people out there who have modified these sports, who put in adaptive equipment and have made things accessible. And also just the value of being in the network of a sports club. You have this wealth of knowledge from a very generous group of parents and friends and family who will share this information with you about how to get your child involved in sport.
It sounds like a really lovely social space as well, to be amongst peers, not just for the kids themselves, but for parents to chat amongst people like that who relate to your experiences as well. Do you find that in your work with Rebel Wheelers?
Very much so, and sometimes kind of like when you step aside from an activity, you can hear conversations going on in the background. People are exchanging hints and tips and suggestions to each other that go beyond, sport. You have the community.
Rebel Wheelers is largely Cork based. Where could people go to find out more information about similar organisations in their area?
IWA Sport would be the first port of call to find out about the disability sports clubs that are right around the country, and they're are welcoming new members. They're very enthusiastic about signing up additional members. Also then Para Athletics Ireland, every year they run a series of workshops where they invite people to come along. They're basically, as the name suggests, they're trying to recruit the next generation of para athletes. So you can go along to those events or reach out to them as an organisation. Your local sports partnership, that's another area to go to. They'll help guide you in the direction of what disability sports are available in the area.
I suppose, what would you like to have known about accessible and para sports before you became involved in Rebel Wheelers?
I think I'd like to encourage more people to step up and to volunteer. We're a parent-run organisation, and we've wonderful parents and volunteers, but we're always looking for new opportunities, new sports. So if an organisation does want to get involved in disability sports, please, come forward to us. We can bring you into our Saturday morning club. We can introduce you to our members, and you also have a taste of getting involved in disability sports and para-athletics.
Again, I suppose just for other parents, I think I'd like to encourage people to come forward, start early, as soon as you think of it, go for it. You can start by reaching out to a club such as Rebel Wheelers, or through other organisations such as Crann. You'll find a lot of the same people and same activities overlap at these organisations, and they're all working together really to provide great activities and support for children with disabilities. One thing I'd have liked to have known as a parent, but I suppose it's not really possible to know, is that your child will find their sport and their activity, and it may not be one of the bigger, faster sports like basketball or rugby. It could be fishing, it could be kayaking. Kayaking was one thing that we found personally as a family that we could all get involved in together. It's very accessible, and all of the family was interested in it. And I think the thing is that as soon as you think about a sport or activity for your child, just go for it, just do it. Your child will find their sport.
Fantastic. That's a lovely note to end on. Thank you both so much for coming in. It was lovely to talk to you today. This podcast has been recorded at the Crann Centre. For more information about the topics discussed in this episode, please see the show notes in the description. For more information about the supports Crann provides to families living with neurophysical disabilities in Munster, please see www.crawncentre.ie.